Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 10th of April for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you a collective overview that we can all relate to, but please stay with me as I explore each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces in much greater detail. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for joining me once more. If you're new here, it's great to have you with us. This is very much a community, so please share any thoughts you have, and I'd be honoured if you would subscribe to the channel. So please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. However, if you would like to understand how more serious astrology can play a role in your life and your decision making, if you do give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can prepare for you your life roadmap report. This will help you to get a much more intimate understanding the patterns that have played out so far, but how you can overcome the challenging ones and seize the more positive ones more firmly. Also, in my special package of 30% off, you can get your 12-month personal forecast, totally unique to you. Now please see below for more on that, but if you don't know your time, if you can give me your date of birth and your place of birth, I can produce your solar chart. This won't have an ascendant, it assumes the moon at midday, but if you really enjoy my YouTube videos, you can align it with your sun sign really well. And again, the special offer applies to that too. Again, please see below for more. Now this week begins with the Sun racing towards an exact conjunction with Jupiter in the sign of Aries. Now this is one of the best aspects you can possibly have in astrology. The Sun, of course, is about our raw energy and our desire to achieve things, but Jupiter is very much about expansion and it's about optimism, and it can in traditional astrology be linked to fortune. When we put the two together in the first zodiac sign of Aries, we're talking about the fire of that sign sparking greater confidence, momentum, thrust. So a lot of excitement reaches a peak on Tuesday. They're still going to be allied to one another really well right through this week. But if there is something you want to inject with fresh energy, this is a great time to do so. However, this can be a complex week for relationships, because Venus also moves on Tuesday into the sign of Gemini, where it's very flirty, very sociable, great for mixing and mingling, or even sending those cheeky text messages. But it forges a very profound link with Pluto for the rest of the week. So I feel that there can be conversations, because both are in air signs, which can help us to really understand who's really in our corner. But conversely, stern Saturn, very much to do with restrictions, is forging a tense right angle to Venus. So if there are any relationships in your world which aren't working very well, I think this is a week that's going to flag them up, despite the innate positivity of the Sun's conjunction with Jupiter. But there is another irony, because the North Node, obviously mainly usually reversing, forges a very stable link with Saturn. So if we've done something in the past which has been a good deed, we've helped someone, we've really invested in some way, perhaps even been generous around our resources, I think something can come back to us in a positive way. But the quarter moon, which occurs on Thursday, is in the sign of Capricorn. So those relationship snags may be around professional ties as much as personal ones. Jupiter's involved in that event too, so that's telling. And it's asking us really to stay grounded. For example, if we felt we had such a super duper idea and we really felt that everyone should be just in awe of its magnificence, the chances are that somebody in a position of influence, someone who's been around a bit longer, someone who's quite experienced, who could be important to the next phase of the development of this, whether it's the bank manager, a business advisor, an investor, someone in the family, or perhaps even a boss. It's important to keep those more traditional people on side. So we need to make sure that anything we are promising we can deliver on in a meaningful and tangible way, which is very Capricorn. However, by the end of this week, Mercury does just edge forwards, although it is slowing down, ready for its retrograde, which begins next week, into a conjunction with Uranus. So some kind of innovation or unusual idea around how to use our resources could manifest itself as this week draws to a close. But please stay with me as I go through each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces. So Taurus, your week commencing the 10th of April forecast sees your ruler move into a new home on Tuesday. That natural appreciation you have for good food and good wine and creature comforts of all kinds, whether it's a long hot soak in a deep tub with some suds and some essential oils, or some more material pleasures, is definitely enhanced by Venus's journey through that sector. But it is challenged by the planet that is Saturn, which is much more to do with limitation. This is not the best of weeks to mix business with pleasure. Also, the combination between the Sun and Jupiter, which has real potential to fortify and increase our energy and our enthusiasm and potentially our fortune. For you, it occurs in a very spiritual location, and Jupiter governs the 12th house through its rulership of the sign of Pisces. So although you may have some kind of tangible breakthrough this week, I think what could be occupying you most of all is how it really feels, or who is really valuable to you, because your sign isn't just about money and those material things. It can be about value, and that value can also be to do with self-worth. So Saturn's challenging that a little bit. Is there someone in your network that doesn't quite get where you're coming from? There could be some envy that's riven through this, to be honest, and that's why I would be a little bit cautious about demonstrating too ostentatiously any gains that you may have around finance. But also, of course, later this week there is a quarter moon, and this occurs for you in house 9, which is very much about expansion, very Jupiterian, and in fact Jupiter is in the mix with the Sun. So there is something that may not quite go to plan, and it's possible that the way this impacts on you emotionally can really see you very sensitive and perhaps in some way inflate the importance of an event, which would be entirely understandable. The great news, however, is that the North Node in your sign forges a very stable link with Saturn, and it may be someone around you who is very pragmatic, who cuts through. But what can work for you so well this week, Taurus, is that the North Node in your sign links so positively with Saturn, and this is a very earthen influence, and can bring something to you that you need to counterbalance the more amplifying energy of Jupiter and the Sun squaring with the Moon in the sign of Capricorn. And as the week draws to a close, Mercury, also in your sign, forges a great link to Uranus. Don't expect to be able to sit still too much as this week closes. You may feel quite restless, but also have some absolutely brilliant ideas, some real brain waves, and the way you think about something in a fresh and different way, you can soon implement that in a way which is really exciting for you.